Welcome everyone, Dylan Gemelli here today with a brand new video for you, and today we are going to talk about how to properly dose the SARM S23. But before we get into that, I want to give a big thank you to everybody out there that's supporting the channel, leaving comments, subscribing. You guys are the shit. I love you. I can't tell you enough how much I appreciate you, and thank you. If you haven't yet done so, please subscribe to the channel. Please click the like button on all the videos if you're enjoying them, and make sure after you subscribe to click that bell icon so that you're actually getting the updates from YouTube every time that I upload new content, because you don't want to miss anything that I upload. So let's jump into this S23, how to properly dose it and run it, etc. S23 has always been one of those things, in my view, that could easily be characterized as a steroid. And I've done videos on S23 before, talked about it in detail. So you want to revert to those in terms of just me talking about the compound in general. This is just strictly how to dose it. But just understand that we are talking about something that is termed a male contraceptive and actually used in that manner. Now, I've spoken and the studies have shown that it's not like a steroid in terms of it will keep you shut down. I mean, you're going to need a full post-cycle therapy, but you're going to bounce back very, very quickly from S23. And it shows that on the studies that it's done, in animals. So just be aware of that there are differences there, but it is extremely strong. It's very suppressive, and you've got to be careful with it. Now, generally, I recommend about 8 weeks on S23. You can go up to 12 if you'd like. 8 weeks is a nice good number with it. Generally, most SARMs I'm recommending 12 weeks, but S23 I generally start at 8 weeks, and then I'd say maybe 10 to 12. And you could do that, just be doing your blood work and be aware of things that are going on with it, and just monitor it and watch it. I mean, what you should be doing with anything that you use. 20 milligrams per day of S23, but this is a split dose, so 10 milligrams maybe in the morning and 10 milligrams 12 hours later. The half-life on S23, we're looking at about 11.9 hours, so it's basically 12 hours. So by definition, okay, so that we understand here, the plasma concentration of a drug is halved after one elimination half-life. So basically the definition for half-life in a nutshell, as easy as I can explain it, is the time it takes for the plasma concentration or the amount of the drug in the body to be reduced by 50%. That's it. All right, so split dosing, 10 milligrams morning, 10 milligrams at night. I don't recommend S23 for women, so this is for men. Women, there's no need to run S23 at all. Just avoid it. There are different side effects variant that I talked about in another video. I just don't think it's necessary. If you do decide to run it, I would keep that dosing quite low. 5 to 10 milligrams at the most a day, probably 5, but not necessary for women. But that's it. For the men and for the dosing, it's very, very simple. And you can do 10 milligrams a day just fine. 20 is about the max that I recommend. You can try 30 and see how it goes for you. Just keep those doses split for the 12-hour gap and you're good to go. But you do want to split those doses and accommodate the half-lives on things when necessary. And just be aware of that. 8 to 12 weeks. 10 weeks is a great number too in that area, but whatever that you want to do or feel comfortable with, roll with that. But that would be my recommendation on it. And if you're looking for quality, because everybody always asks me, who do I recommend? I personally recommend SARMs for sale. Top-notch company, love them. Never done me wrong. Never had a complaint on people that I've sent to them, and I've recommended people many different places over the years. Some people have made me look good. Some people have made me look not so good. So I'm a little bit more careful about who I recommend, and so I'm good recommending them. But that's it. That's S23 in a nutshell. That's how to run it. So you can always email me with questions, but don't make it too hard. Just follow the steps. Be aware. Don't get too greedy. And that's that. So that being said, stay tuned for plenty more to come. Dylan Gemelli, signing off.